Good morning everyone and welcome to today's webinar. This is one of my favorite hours for the month and I'm so excited to have you join me for today's class. For those of you who are listening to the recording, make sure you've allowed yourself an hour for this class. Please try not to rush through it. This hour that you spend planning your content will save you so much time throughout the month ahead. So just to keep in mind, today's class is really about me facilitating and helping you to plan your content. So you will be doing all the heavy lifting. I'm just here to guide you through that process. Okay. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you, gosh, oh my goodness, sorry. Business Station will be, this session is being recorded. It will be sent out to you via Business Station. It will be available on their YouTube channel. Please allow them a few days to get the recording out to you. Please do not contact myself. Unfortunately, I don't manage the recording, Business Station do. So you will need to contact them to follow up with that. You should have been sent the workbook link already as a PDF prior to today's class. I have also popped it in the chat for anybody who didn't have it printed off and ready to go to help you with that. There is time built into today's webinar as we're going. Because it is a webinar through Zoom, you're not able to orally ask me questions, but there is a Q&A that I have open beside me, and there's also a chat. You're welcome to pop any queries that you have in there, or if you'd like any feedback as we're going, that would be great. So if you haven't met me before, hi, I'm Sarah. The workbook is just attached above Helen. I'll just pop it in there again. So it's there for you now, so you should be able to see it. If we haven't met before, I'm the owner and founder of Online Social Butterfly. I've been an advisor and trainer with Business Station as a subcontractor for the last 3.5 years, which I absolutely love being part of this program. The ASBAS program has been extended until the 31st of March. And at the end of today's webinar, I'll give you some details on how you can work with me one-on-one through this program at a really heavily subsidized rate, which is a great opportunity for you to grow your digital marketing skills and confidence. A little bit of background for me. I've been running my own company for over 10 years in digital marketing, and prior to that I worked for 15 years in corporate marketing and communications. If you'd like to connect with me personally, love to chat and hear how you got on. My favorite places to hang out are Facebook and Instagram, and I'm Online Social Butterfly on those platforms. All right, so let's get started. As I mentioned, today is about you doing the work and me facilitating it. So hopefully you're sitting somewhere nice and quiet. You've got the workbook printed. If you don't have it printed, you can follow along on the screens, but you'll definitely need a pen and paper to be taking notes. So I love to start out this type of webinar with a review of how the month prior has gone. So I always suggest we do Facebook and Instagram because they're often the platforms that we use the most. However, if you use some other platforms and you feel it would be more relevant for you to dive into those, you're welcome to do that. Now, the easiest place to find your insights is on Meta Business Suite. If you go to your Facebook page on the Facebook website rather than on your phone, you go to your left-hand menu and you'll see one that says Insights or Meta Business Suite. You can click on those and go through to your insights. So again, I always believe what kind of gets tracked and measured gets improved. So I love to look at my results at the end of each month. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this task. You can fill out as much as little as you like, and it's so good to see that improvement each month as we go through this. So I'll pop the timer on. I will mute myself during the timer so that I can sit quietly and not distract you, and then I'll come back to you and keep the webinar moving. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a chance to do a little overview of what's been going on in your business on social media in the last month. And I love to try and do this task every month. I actually use a spreadsheet to track it, and I track a lot of data across my business to see if I'm making improvements and moving forward in my business. Okay, so the next task that you're going to do is actually probably the most important task for today's webinar. What we are going to do is choose a single theme, an offer, a product, or a sale or a promotion that is going to be your focus for the entire month of November. Now, here is the reality about social media. All of your audience does not see all of your content all of the time. The algorithm dictates that people only see some of your content. And so the problem with that is we need to make it very clear to our audience what it is that we're trying to promote at any given time. Now, this means we have to be very single-minded in talking about the same thing for a considerable period of time. In my business, I have so many products and services and different offerings. If I was to talk about each one of them, I would probably have one post a day throughout the month. And the problem with that is that my audience wouldn't know what I wanted them to do. They would find it very overwhelming. They just simply wouldn't know, what should I be doing from this woman that has all of these things? So it's really, really important that you focus your energy and your content on a single theme. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this task, and I want you to think about what would you like to be promoting during the month of November. And I want you to use the page 2 of the workbook to help you explore some of those themes for the month. So I'm again going to put the timer on for 5 minutes to give you some time to do this first task. Oh, okay. So moving on to our next task, what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on that theme, and what we're actually going to do is break it down so that we get lots of content ideas for the month ahead. So we've got 4 questions on page 3 of the workbook, and what I want you to do is take your time. Don't rush through all questions. We've got 4 minutes for each task before we move on. So question number 1 is, what do people need to know about you and your business before they buy from you? So what I want you to think about here is what makes you and your business unique and different. So if you're a service-based business, it might be a little bit about you, why you started your business, what your passions are, what your qualifications and skills and experience are. If you're a product-based business, it might be along the lines of how do you source your product, what are the ingredients, what is your story and passion behind it. So for question number 1, I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes, and I'm going to give you a chance to do that, and then we'll move on to the following questions. Okay, so hopefully you've had some time to really dive into that first question. We're now going to look at the second question, which is really thinking about your audience or your ideal customer in relation to your theme for the month. And what you need to ask yourself is, why do they need to buy this from you? So what problem does it solve? Now remember, the closer we can get to solving someone's problem, the more they are excited about buying from us. So again, I'm going to give you 4 minutes for question number 2, and I want you to think about all of the reasons. Just keep writing on the workbook about why do people buy from you and what problem is it that you're going to solve for them. Okay, so for question number 3, this is what we're often looking for when we are typically doing marketing, is we want to know where is the person now, i.e. what is their problem, which is what we looked at in question number 2. And then we want to look at, once they've worked with us or bought from us or we've solved their problem, what does that outcome look like? What does it feel like? How does it sound from your audience's perspective? So again, I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes, and I want you to dive into thinking about, what does your audience tell you what it feels like once they've purchased it or once they've had their problem solved? So again, 4 minutes for question number 3. Okay, so we're going to move on to the final question on page 3 of our workbook. And what we're going to look at here is, what objections do people have when it comes to purchasing from you? So this is typically around 2 things, time and money. Okay, so don't just write down time and money. I want you to use this time to think about, if people say it's time, how can you negate that? So if people, for example, if people wanted to coach one-on-one with me and they say, I don't have enough time, then you might want to talk about the shortcuts that you provide and the outcomes that help with people. So when people have those objections, I want you to think about how you can negate those and talk about the value that you bring. So it's really important that we address these as part of our content. So I want you to just give yourself a moment and think about how can you talk about objections people have and how can you overcome those. Okay, so we're now moving on to page 4 of our workbook, and each one of these tasks is just going to have 3 minutes for them. So the first task I want you to do is see if you have any testimonials that relate to your theme for the month ahead. So have a quick look on Google and Facebook. If you don't have any that specifically relate to your theme or that product or service, have a look and see if there's some that you could use that are just general testimonials. So again, I'm going to just give you 3 minutes for idea number 1, which is testimonials. Okay, now for idea number 2, I want you to think about in relation to your theme for the month, what's some behind the scenes that you can share with your audience. So if you have a product-based business, this is super simple. It can be boxing and unboxing, it can be making your product, it can be receiving delivery of ingredients, it can be you working behind the scenes. If you have a service-based business, this can seem slightly less exciting, but you can still create some fun tutorials that show you working behind the scenes. So again, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to think about some behind the scenes ideas that you can use. Okay, the third idea that we're going to be looking at on page 4 of our workbook is really around some quick tips that you can give people. Now, quick tips are really, really helpful to show that you're an expert or to build confidence in your audience in your knowledge in this area. So again, 3 minutes on the timer for you to think about some quick tips that you could share with your audience around your theme for the month of November. Okay, so our final task on page 4 of our workbook is going to be looking at some long post ideas that relate to your theme for the month of November. Now, just to give you a couple of little clues, if you currently write a blog, this can suffice, so blog ideas around your content theme. If you create videos and have videos on a YouTube channel, or if you have a podcast, all of those are on the same idea as a long post concept. So the idea is that for your theme for the month, you can dive into a little bit more detail on this. So I want you to have a think about what could you write as a long post, a blog, a video, or a podcast that could relate to your theme for the month of November. Now remember, long posts do lend themselves to opinion pieces. So if you would like to share your opinion on a theme for the month, you're most welcome to do that as well. Remember, we're not writing it now, we're writing our ideas. So if you have 3 or 4, great. I would say ideally you probably only need to do 2 of these in a month, so don't get too panicked about this. All right, so I'm going to set the timer again for 3 minutes. Okay, so our final task for today is on page 5 of our workbook. Now, this is really around themes that are coming up for the month of November. So there's lots of things going on in November. And what I really want you to do is take a little moment to have a look at what these daily and monthly themes are and what might be relevant to you and your audience. And obviously bonus points if you can link it to your theme ahead for the month. But these are always great pieces of content idea that can give you content if you're struggling a little bit. So again, I'll give you a couple of minutes for this task and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up. You've still got a little second, but Fiona, thanks so much for sharing what your theme for the month is in terms of gratitude. I absolutely love that. And can I just say that as we head into the end of the year, I've noticed a lot of people feeling very tired and run down. And I think that's when we start to put our energy in a place of kind of lack and scarcity, and setting ourselves into a gratitude space is a wonderful thing to do. So I look forward to seeing you and seeing what you post. If anyone would like to pop their Instagram handle in the chat, I'd love to connect with you all. So this is me, I'm Online Social Butterfly, and you can connect with me on Insta and send me a little message and I'll come and follow you, because I love to see what people are doing for the month ahead. It always makes me really excited to feel how you've planned and mapped out your month. So a little bit about how do we use this plan. So the plan is really a guide to give you clarity and focus. So what I really don't want is for you to ever sit in front of your screen during the month of November and go, I don't know what to post, because what you have done is you've spent an hour now creating a bunch of content ideas. You know what your theme for the month is, you know what you want to talk about. Now, ideally, if you had time today and could spend an hour or two taking the content plan that we've just created and actually writing the content for it, that would be fabulous. However, if you don't have time to do that, I really recommend you try and sit down once a week, refer to your content plan, write and schedule your posts for the week ahead. If that is not going to happen and you have to sit down every day and think about it, remember your plan is your guide. You should never be sitting there feeling like you're lacking in inspiration or ideas, because you have got about 20 ideas now, which is almost one a day. And things like testimonials, you can put up 2 or 3 of those. So you're pretty well covered for the month ahead. I have to say, I've been running this class for about 12 months and I have people that have attended it every single month. And the reason for this is simple. It's a very simple process that we've gone through today. But simple doesn't always mean easy. So you do have to apply it and you do have to use it. So it is my sincere hope that you find this really, really useful. Thank you everyone who has popped your handles in there. I'll come and follow you. It'd be nice to connect with you all. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of today's webinar is free of charge to you because it's funded by the federal government under a program called ASBAS, which is Australian Small Business Advisory Service, or sometimes it's called Digital Solutions. It's got two working names at the moment. Anyway, as I mentioned, I've been an advisor with Business Station on this program for about 3.5 years now, and it's a wonderful opportunity for you to get access to very low cost one-on-one mentoring. So the program is $44, and look, I have to be honest, it says 7 hours, but it's actually 3 hours of one-to-one and 4 hours of workshops and webinars. So if you think that you need some help with some of these kind of what we call digital activities, which include social media and digital marketing, online security and data privacy, websites and selling online, or using business software, then we would love to work with you. To be eligible, you simply have to have an ABN registered in Queensland, WA, or the Northern Territory. You have to be running a for-profit business that has less than 20 full-time employees. Now, you can choose to work with me as your preferred advisor. When you put in your application through the Business Station website, it says, do you have a preferred advisor? And in that spot, you put my name, Sarah Thomson, or Sarah from Online Social Butterfly. They will find me. We've only got a team of about 30, so I won't be hard to track down. And my areas of expertise include obviously Facebook and Instagram, both organic content and paid advertising. I love just talking content as we have done today. I love Canva. And because of my background, if you want to talk big picture, digital or marketing strategies, I would love to help you with that. So I hope you have enjoyed today. I hope that you put your plan in place. I'm going to take a little screenshot so I can connect with you all before I close that up. But again, thank you for today. And remember, this is your guide. Make sure you go ahead and use it. So have a wonderful day.